Good morning. I'm starting my day at Home Depot. I get along with everybody, even the people I'm not dating anymore. I ran into one of my ex-husband's employees, shocked that he was still there. And he's the only person on this planet, my ex-husband, not his worker. I don't say his name. When I think of him, the back of my throat starts watering up, and the urge to vomit is overwhelming. But then I came out to my car, and someone left a duck on my Jeep. Not only did they give me a duck, it's a chicken. I got a chicken duck. These people just made my day. So I hope it's them, because I went over and stuck a little red duck in their door handle. I mean, they didn't just give me a duck. They gave me a chicken duck. That made my whole day better. Like, it's the little things. I mean, I'm happy now. So I'm on my way to the client's house. I don't know what the universe is doing to me today, but I was just about to tell you that the irony that I just told you guys yesterday, that I gag and retch but can't vomit, and seeing somebody shit in the tube of their fucking drain and smelling awful stuff was not enough to get me to throw up yesterday. But I realized that there's one thing in this world that can make me do it, and it's him. My ex-husband is the equivalent of syrup of Ipecac. And now this is the fucking song that just came on that he used to fucking sing all the time. I've never looked forward to getting to someone's house to fucking drywall so much before. It is sanding day, and I have a product I can show you. I brought the big ass sander with me today. This is my Wen sander, W-E-N. It has a long hose attached to it with a vacuum bag. Change out the pans. Those are really the ones that belong on it. It's got all different speeds. Your safety button is here with your power button here. Right now I have it on a minimum. You can change it by scrolling here. This is the brand. Their ads all say something like, remember when. They make a decent product. They really do. And their prices are quite reasonable. So, because I have so much to sand, I'm going to do this wall. And I'll show you how I use it. It takes off quite a bit. And then I could just skim coat it afterwards. I could get this thing set up. I still didn't bring my fucking tripod. I'm using this to stand my phone up. And I'm wearing a mask today because I'm getting sick. And I'm sick of having grit in my mouth. Dust and grit. My skin is dry. My hair is dry. So I can't breathe. I'm putting a fucking mask on today. Here we go. If I'm wearing a mask, that tells you how bad it is. This fucking color. And then this bag fills. It doesn't catch all of it, but it catches a lot. I'm so pissed right now. You see the room? You guys can't see anything. Let me tell you something. It just sanded this whole wall in like 30 seconds. And it looks really fucking good. Here's the problem. It's a fucking hole in the bag. How it wound up with a hole in the bag is fucking beyond me. But I can't tape it. Because it's powder and cloth. So the tape won't stick. I must have a sewing kit somewhere, but I'm so pissed. That's the only reason why that shit is flying all over the place. I'll have to hand sand very little, and then I can start painting. But this thing is fucking useless. Unless I get the bag fixed. Never a fucking dull moment. Alright, I went and got a sewing kit. I sewed it. Let's see how it works now. Much better. Now, it might seem cloudy in here. Part of that is my fault. So you can pull the machine away from the wall if you're not sanding, and it'll just suck the rest of the stuff into the bag. But in this case, I have to sand the edge of the wall. And when I sand the edge of the wall, half of it's on, half of it's off. Then the dust goes through the air. Some of it in the bag, some through the air. But look at this. This bag is full of drywall dust. Remember how lumpy it was at the bottom? Sanded. This one. Now it needs another coat. So it's gonna be fun because it's two edges that are not even this wall. That Wen sander makes easier work. I have so much sanding. Hi, I have stopped counting days. I don't even know what day it is, but I am finally fucking painting. And the reason I want to make the video, I stopped making them. I was sick. I haven't responded to anybody. There's a reason. I want to show you the review that I started earlier this summer. Everybody's fucking home. This is the Wagner automatic roller feeder. This is the perfect job to show you the Wagner automatic roller feeder because there's no room in here for trays and poles and cans of paint. So this thing hooks up directly to the can of paint. And if you have a 5-gallon, it will raise up. I lost track of the day. I don't even give a fuck. I'm doing this in the car because they're all home and they're all in my way, but whatever. I'm gonna do like a silent video when I get back. And the reason why it's so important that I share this with you is because I think that I have done some of the best, if not the best, drywall finishing I have ever done. And I am so proud of the work that I did that I would gladly stand next to it, put my name on it and say, yep, I did that. And I don't think she appreciates it because she has no idea how painstaking and meticulously I did this mudding. I had to rebuild the edges of the wall outside of the shower. Because the last guy, and I'll point to it, I'm going to tell you a few things. When I say it, I might try to talk quietly. I don't know. The last guy must have tried to somehow get the drywall to be flush with the tub. So he added either mastic or some sort of extremely thin layer of like an eighth. I don't know. He added like a sheet of something, but only at the bottom of the wall. So you can clearly see the seam and the hump where it goes up. You didn't notice it so much with the last tile because the whole thing was tiled with the same tile. I did subway and trim tile. So when I came down with the trim tile, my trim tile's straight, it's plumb. And you can, the fucking, the only way to explain it is that at the bottom, there was a slight edge. As it went up, we lost the edge because the wall went in. And then at the top where he made it thick again with that layer of shit, it got thick again. The whole wall looked like this. It made my tile look like shit. It made my drywall and mudding look like shit. Like it looked like I did that, and I didn't. I had to, layer by layer, very carefully, just keep coating. I coated, let it dry. I coated, let it, sanded, coated, and built it where there's a little tiny edge so it looks straight. And it's so, and the column came out so good. It was a shit show because the original wall wasn't plumb. The stud was crooked. There were lumps. I'm just so happy with what I did, and I'm glad that I took the time. And I almost, I would be willing if like an actual drywall finisher ever got like curious and like goes on and goes with hashtags and stuff and saw the video, I'd be like, yeah, you can take a look at it. Is it perfect? No. But it's really damn good. But there's also nothing that's perfect. I'm so glad that I cared, because there were days that I wanted to just throw my fucking hands in the air and be like, I don't give a shit. Everything else in the house is crooked. But if I was going to fix it, or I was going to at least make it better, no matter how badly I wanted to give up, I refused. And as it started looking better and better, I started caring. I always cared, but I started caring more and more. I'm so glad I didn't cut corners, and I'm so glad that I put the effort in, because there really was an art to it. And I'm so pleased with the results. And this, I actually have a tip, like a not a how not to. And I have these crazy analogies to explain stuff. It's like I had a moment back in my 20s when I used to smoke pot and listen to Pink Floyd. The only Pink Floyd song that I just couldn't stand was The Great Gig in the Sky. I couldn't stand it. Well, then one day, I think I was just too stoned to change the disc. And I listened to it. I was stuck listening to it. And I had a moment where all of a sudden I felt like I just understood the song to the point where now it's like one of my favorites. I feel like I can hear the woman's story without her saying a word. And that's what happened with the drywall. It's like I listened to the drywall, and you will understand this. I saved a spot to show you. When you're sanding and you're doing the finish sand, the drywall will tell you what mud it wants and what mud it doesn't, if you just listen. And it made a world of difference. And I'm sure I'm going to go out of practice with it again, because it'll be a while before I do it again. But each time I get better and I fall out of practice, I'll be in a better position to start and get back to being better at it the next time. Plus, I get to show you the automatic feeding, what do they call it? It's the Wagner Sidekick. It's the automatically fed paint roller. So I'm going to set it up. I might not say a word. I'm just going to quietly show you. This is like, just so you know what you're looking at in like 5 minutes, because they're all home and they're all up and down the stairs, and I'm just not right now. But I cannot bear to not show you that this bathroom looks so fucking bad, and it looks so good, and I'm proud of it. And did I lose money on it? Yes, I did. But you know what? I learned a lot. And if I get a job similar to this in the future, I'm going to be more confident also to be able to say, no, I know what it's going to look like when I'm done, and I know what I'm capable of. And instead of just being like, oh, I got that, you're like, no, there's a value in having me do it, and this is why. And when I take the pictures and I show you, I don't think anyone's going to doubt it. And I'm not like bragging. I'm just really proud of the fact that I put that much effort into it, and it was worth it. And I practiced and I got better. So hang on, I'm going to go in now. That was so much work. It was so much work. It was worth it. I do the same similar over here. I'm going to paint it. I'll show you. Look at this. actually smooth. This is where it was sticking out. The stud was twisted. It's got a tight, slight curve, but I have it so smooth and blended. And this one, a shit show. Here's this thing. Painting the trim. There's still a fucking worm in here. Put it on the lip. You push the tube all the way to the bottom. This clicks. I'll show you the back wall that I haven't painted yet. Still here, still at it. Check this out. How you like meow? I finally have like one semblance of opportunity to try to show you some of the cuts that I've been making with my Ryobi cutoff wheel. It's a 3.5 inch with a diamond blade. This is like my third blade, but I've cut like 45 tiles. I'm going to try to explain how I'm doing it. If not, I'm going to make another video at home because I haven't been able to do it. I'm going to show you how I'm cutting circles around doorways. I'll show you those tiles done, but I'm trying to show you how I'm doing it without chipping the tile and getting beautiful cuts. But I haven't had much opportunity. So I'm going to show you the cut that I made yesterday. So when I show you the initial cut, you'll know why I'm doing it that way and then how to finish it. Not fix it, finish it. This is what I cut with my Ryobi cutoff wheel. And what I'm talking about I haven't finished is that edge right there. I don't give a shit about that edge because it's going around the toilet, but I'm still going to show you how I finish it. So when it's around, like let's say the next one I'm going to cut is for this little, the water shut-off pipe. I'm going to show you that one on this tile. I'll show you how I finish it because this one's a really tight turn and this is going to be a tough one. This one's a little easier. It's a large circle. This little piece that's sticking out in the back right here, I'm going to show you how to get that off. And that's why I say I'm not fixing it, I'm finishing it. I cut it that way for a reason, so I don't chip and damage the top of the tile. I can always scrape off the back later. So that's what I'm doing. One of the other reasons I haven't made a bunch of these to show you the cuts is because I get nervous when I'm watched, and I get shaky, and then I don't want to fuck up these tiles. So, all I do is run the side of the blade on the excess. And then I use this invaluable tool, really cheap at Home Depot that I'm going to tell you about later, is the gator, the little gator sander. Just to maybe polish it a little. It's nice and smooth, and I got yourself. Look at that cut. There are no chips, and it's cut really nicely with like this. So I'll show you how I do it next. That is not bad. Pretty happy with that. I'm going to try to describe what I'm doing before I do it because you may not be able to see it from the angle that you're at, and I'll stop and explain it. As I'm turning this, I'm turning it on the wasted piece. I don't give a fuck what the wasted piece it looks like, as long as I don't go past the drawn edge for the part of the tile I'm keeping. So as I turn this wheel, it's not meant to make these kind of cuts. So I'm going to turn it in this small spot. This is a tight one. I'm not going to cut this part. I'm going to cut this part, and then I'll sand it and scrape it afterwards. So when you see me turning the wheel, I'm turning it on the waste, not on the good tile. See the pencil line is? I'm cutting inside the pencil line. That looks like shit. But look, I still have to bring it all the way up to that pencil line. That's what I do with the side of it now. Getting better. Almost perfect. I just have to stick it alone. I didn't do this to the other ones. This one's just the smallest cut. I'm going to stick this around my finger. It's like 180 grit. That looks pretty good. I'm a little unhappy with that tiny little less than rounded, but I know I started to shake, which is why I turned the camera off. I just get too nervous being watched. Let's see how it fits. And this spacer is going to go here. I think that looks pretty good. I've made every cut, every single cut in this room with my cutoff wheel. Because it's snowing out, I'm not putting a wet saw outside right now. A wet saw blade, I think, runs about 60 bucks. I'm on my third. I could probably use a fourth right now. But with the few cuts I have left, I'm going for it. So $45 in blades. Some of these are pretty cool. I gotta get the thin set clean, but I got all in here. And when I clean that up, I'll show you how nice it looks. How I'm measuring my tiles, I also want to share, because I'm sure it's common sense to most people, but if you're new and you're going to do it yourself and you haven't done it before, you always want your cuts to be like on the exterior trim of anything, because there's usually a shoe molding or a vinyl strip or something that goes at the bottom that will cover those, you know, maybe if it's uneven. Factory edge should always be on the inside where you're going to see it. So I have to make a cut here to go around this wall. And for me, I made this job very difficult because I did center the first tile I did. And after measuring and centering and laying out one row towards the corner, I realized that if I moved the tiles like an inch, then the cuts on either side of the room would be even and it would look balanced, which means I had to cut almost every fucking tile in here. One at the door is 12 inches. The ones at the tub are 11 and a half. So the ones over there are balanced with the ones over here. So by the time the room is done, it will be evenly tiled. It's not going to look like it's got smaller cuts on one side than the other. So I'm also, because I did the hopscotch pattern with stacking, this pattern is really easy to do. And to me, it's a little easier to hide any novice flaws versus doing like the checkerboard. Because if you don't get every single corner perfect on a checkerboard, you're going to see it. But to help not have your tiles offset, I went ahead and marked every tile where the 12-inch tiles. I marked them in the middle. So I marked them at 6 inches. And you can do that with any tile. If you're going to do an offset, off-centered hopscotch pattern, mark the middle of your tile. That way you know where the end of one tile is, should be at the mark in the middle of it. If it's not, you can stop yourself from going completely askew. You know, tiny bit here and there across the floor, you don't notice until you get to the other side, and suddenly it's like, what the fuck happened? My tiles marked with a little notch. They do wipe off because it's just pencil. One has the mark there, so I know it's going to be lined up with the edge of this tile. See, there's one. And it was down here too. That just ensured that if I wasn't paying attention or if I started going askew, I could fix it. It's easier for me to measure. I use the spacers and I lay out a few tiles in one section at a time. Cut all those tiles, set them, mix more of the mortar. I'm using rapid set, thin set, so I can get the toilet back on later today. And so mix 10 minutes worth of work because it's going to set after that. This one's not laid. That one's not laid. This one's not laid, but they're all cut. So I'm cutting this one. The measurements for this one are 10 inches this way and 12 inches this way, but I have to cut for the corner. In order for me to make sure that I properly space everything, what I do is when I get to a wall, this piece, I take 2 spacers, put them together, and then measure from the wall to the spacer. That way I know I've allowed for enough of a gap between each tile and the wall for the grout. The one for here, I want the cut edge to be here and here. So I measured my cut. If it needs to be 10 inches, this is my 10 inches. But I have to leave this to go around the wall. Pretty good fit. I'm going to mix my thin set mortar. And it's rapid set, so I'm not going to let it sit here while I'm making my cuts. I'm going to make my cuts first. This is a cool cut that I'm going to show you. I get to use the tile twice. I have a 4 by 12. This cut is going to go across the back wall, back there. Then this one, I need the factory side to be on the left with the toilet, where the wax ring goes, cut out here. So the waste piece is in the middle. I can probably show you that half circle cut easier this time. You get to see the waste edge where I move the blade. So it's nice and round and smooth. Here is the half cut I have to make. So I score it nice and round, just scored. But I score it where there's excess left that I have to shape off later. So that when I have to go deeper, it doesn't let me make that round curve as much. I'm only gonna have to take off the part and keep it. No chips. They all came out really well. Look at that. And then, back here, just to be a dick, I put that little tiny nubbin, took that nubbin out. I mean, I didn't have to. I could have grouted, but for the aesthetics, it really looks good. My camera's filthy. Alright, that's it.